My name is Katie Smith. I am 48 years old and I have ALK positive lung cancer. And I just wanted to take a minute to thank Dr. Hanna for inviting me to share my story with you. When he called back in September to ask if I would be willing to come today, I was nervous and honored as well. And honestly, for the last 7 weeks, I've second-guessed whether or not I wanted to actually be standing up here in front of you today, sharing my story with you, because it's vulnerable and it's emotional, and those things are hard. For the last 24 years, I have taught kindergarten. I can talk and sing and dance all day long in front of 5-year-olds. But like I said, to stand in front of you today and tell some of the most vulnerable parts of my life, it's a little bit different. There are events, I think, in your life, moments that are frozen in time, when you realize that nothing will ever really be the same. Moments that divide time into two parts, before and after. But really, my story begins even before my cancer diagnosis. 4 years ago, I was a normal mom and wife, and in the spring of 2021, everything changed. During a typical evening after work, I left home to go pick up one of my sons from a friend's house, and in that short 25 minutes away, my husband had a horrible accident at our home while cutting down a tree in our yard, and a few hours later, he passed away from his injuries that he had sustained. And that was the day that our lives changed forever, the before and the after. And I found myself abruptly forced into the single motherhood journey of raising two teenage boys, ages 13 and 16. And with an almost naive outlook, I was determined that my boys and myself would come out on the other side of that okay. So I put my head down and kept our lives moving forward as best as I could throughout tremendous grief. Fast forward almost 2 years later, and many highs and lows over those 2 years, and the unthinkable happened again. I was diagnosed with lung cancer. I am a non-smoker and was an otherwise healthy young person. Honestly, I didn't even understand how that reality was even possible. I didn't fit the image of what I believed lung cancer to be, and I've now come to understand that that image simply does not exist. Anyone with lungs can get lung cancer. Prior to my diagnosis, I had spent 4 long months sick. I think my story is unfortunately common among many young patients. Multiple doctors in multiple specialties missed my cancer. 8 antibiotics, steroids, breathing treatments, physical therapy for random back pain, X-rays, CT scans, echograms for fluid around my heart, trips to the ER, a night in the hospital, eventually a bronchoscope. No one really saw it. No one thought that it could be cancer. Eventually, a tissue sample came back suspicious for malignancy, and a lung biopsy was scheduled. That day, after the biopsy was done, I just found myself so emotional and teary-eyed in the recovery, and I couldn't even really explain why. I just knew that I was scared. I was told that my pulmonologist would be coming over to talk with me prior to my discharge, but before he arrived, I had a call from his office to let me know that they were referring me to a local oncologist. They did not realize he had not been over to talk to me yet. And my cancer journey began. That moment, those words are ones that you don't really ever forget. Having to sit with my children once again and tell them heartbreaking news is something I will never forget. The looks on their faces, the looks in my family and friends' faces, you don't forget. But true to all of their characters, my village sprung into action to support my children and I, and their efforts led me to Dr. Hannah's office just a few short days after my diagnosis. The next few weeks were spent waiting on the biomarker testing, having additional imaging done. And when Dr. Hannah called me at home to let me know my results, he once again showed incredible kindness as he had to tell me the unfortunate news that, yes, my cancer had spread. But he was also extremely encouraging to share that the test results had revealed the ALK gene and that there were fabulous treatment options available. Within a week at that time, I began alectinib, and alectinib has honestly saved my life. There will never be adequate words to express the gratitude that I feel having access to this drug. It is not lost upon me that many others before me did not have these treatment options. The research and the drug companies' investments, the brave patients who have gone before me, those willing to participate in clinical trials are the reasons that I'm here today, the reason that I have hope. I'm still here for my children, and I have been given the gift to continue to raise them and help them become independent adults. Because of the research and the selfless acts of others, I'm alive. And not just alive, but honestly, truly living, not giving up. I fight every single day for normalcy, for myself, and for my children. I work full-time still. I take care of my home. I attend all of my kids' sporting events. I've moved my oldest to college twice. I travel with friends and family and live life. My hope is that someday my story, my survival, my bravery, and my choices will be someone else's survival guide. Research and clinical trials equal more life. So thank you to each one of you for being here today, for supporting our mission to end lung cancer, and for hearing my story.